Welcome back here to the Spotless Stadium for another afternoon of the World Series Campdraft. Lindsay Douglas, are you excited?
I'm so excited. This is a really historical event. It's been run here in various forms since the early 1930s, and it's bigger and better than ever.
World Series Campdraft, we have amazing livestock making their way out there. At the moment, we do have, of course, Murray Wilkinson from the Elliston Pastoral Company, one of the employees from up there at Elliston, and we must thank the Packer family, Rob Tees and the team from Elliston Pastoral Company for their generous donation of the fine cattle that we have coming out here this afternoon.
Well, the camera right now is on a young lady called April Langridge. Round two, she came out and blew the big boys away. The 20-year-old lady, she came out here and took out first place.
She most certainly did. And hey, April always looks good, but don't all of our stockmen, our competitors, look wonderful here today? All thanks to RM Williams, and they look the part in those shirts. And of course, if you want to find out about the leatherwork side of RM Williams, head on over and see Terry Goodyear and the team from RM Williams. They have their boot stand here with all their leather goods just under the big screen.
And right in the middle of the arena now, you can see each of our competitors working out. For the last 3 nights, they've come out to compete here. An order was drawn on the first day of Sydney Royal Easter Show. Tonight's order will start with Terry Hannigan. Now, there is a benefit to going first. He'll get the first choice of all the cattle, but he won't be able to pick how that beast will run until the gates are opened. Ending our run tonight will be Andrew Chapman. Well, the advantage of going last is that he'll know the score that he needs to beat, but he'll be left with the last few cattle to choose from.
Well, it's been a very interesting competition for the last couple of days. Of course, we have 2 judges here judging this afternoon's competition. And Lindsay Douglas, who do we welcome as our judges?
Well, Fred Patterson, this will be his 3rd time judging the World Championship Camp Draft at Sydney Royal Easter Show. He's judged camp drafting and Australian stock horses all over the nation. Comes to us from Gloucester. He'll be joined by Keith Hourigan from Walker, younger chap, and he tells me it's just such an honour to judge at this prestigious event.
Well, Lindsay, I wish I could profess of being an expert at the sport of camp drafting. I've watched some amazing camp drafts here the last couple of nights. Of course, Hugh Miles, he's had 2 91s, which given him 2 wins so far in the competition. As you mentioned there, that April won there on night number 2. As we come into night number 3, it is certainly going to be an amazing event. Night number 4, in fact, 3 rounds, that would make sense, wouldn't it? Night number 4. And we've seen some very high scores. Of course, Andrew Chapman and Digby had a 90 and an 88. He scored every night. And my favourite, Nigel Cable and Chevron Ivory, has had scores each and every night.
That combination of Nigel Cable from a tiny little town of Rydal, they've won this event 3 years running, so they've got something to prove out here this evening. But he's won 4 times in total.
He certainly has. Isn't it amazing? Amazing accolade. Well, the yard is being built and there's a man down on the ground who knows so much more than you or I could ever dream of knowing. In fact, what he's forgotten about camp drafting is more than most people will ever know. It is great to welcome to centre stage the one and only, the dapper, the young, Mr. Jim Callanan. What are you laughing for, Jim?
Thank you very much for that intro, Tim. Well, I'm astounded.
I've never heard. Have you ever heard Jim speechless before, Lindsay?
No, I think he thinks he owes you something now.
I think I can see he's blushing. He's gone the colour of that beautiful Tyrrell's wine, that red Tyrrell's wine.
Next time I apply for another job, I'm going to go to Tim for a reference.
Hey, Jim, camp drafting, it's an Australia's own sport. It was derived out in the country when stockmen were droving cattle and they would bet each other who could move a beast quicker than the other, and they'd cut one out of the mob and run it around a few trees and bring it back to the mob, and hence the sport of camp drafting started. It's our own, and what are we going to see here tonight?
Well, that's exactly right, Tim. It's Australia's own horse sport. It's a wonderful family sport, good way of keeping mum and dad and the kids all together. A lot of these competitors, they've travelled hundreds of thousands of miles, and they've got the very best of the horses and the very best of competitors we're watching here at the Sydney Royal Easter Show, because it gets no bigger than the Sydney Royal Easter Show.
It is an amazing sport. Hey, haven't we seen an increase in the prize pool in money in camp drafts right around the country? I know coming up in May this year, there's a $250,000 draft down on the south coast of New South Wales, the Warwick Gold Cup and the Paradise Lagoons as well, just to name a few. But this is the one they all want to win, because you don't just say, yeah, I'm going to go compete at Sydney. You're invited to compete here.
That's exactly right, Tim, and to get that invitation to come here to the Royal Easter Show, it's something that'll stick with you for a lifetime.
Mate, we can see cattle, we can see horses, we can see ring crew madly building a yard down here behind you. There are going to be people in the stands here tonight who know a lot about camp drafting, and welcome to the die-hard supporters, and we hope you enjoy the spectacle. There's going to be people like myself and Lindsay who feel like we know a little bit, but we really know nothing at all. And then there's going to be people who have never seen it before. For the people who have never seen it before, and for the likes of Lindsay and myself, what is it and how does it work?
Okay, well, Jim's going to be on the same seats as Tim and Lindsay this afternoon, because we think we know all about everything. But so I'm going to sit on the same seat as you this afternoon, Tim and Lindsay. But yeah, camp drafting, when you'll see Murray Wilkerson with his fabulous working dogs. He's just got all the cattle there, just all huddled there together, and they'll bring them over and put them in the yard, which we refer to as the cattle camp. And when we're ready for the competition, the competitor will go in and he'll select one of these wonderful Angus steers and bring it to the face of the camp, and he'll be working to try and get as many points he can out of a possible score of 26 points.
Hey, Jim, how do they get those points? There's a mob of cattle, they've got to cut one out, and then they've actually got to hold it at the front. Is that something along the lines they do?
That's it, Tim. Try and get it off nice and cleanly. They're only taking one beast out, so the judges like to see only one beast come up the front. And they will demonstrate the ability that the horse has to hold that beast away from the herd. And if they can do sort of 3 or 4 real good turns and in the middle of the yard, well, you can nearly expect a sort of a 21 to 24 yard. So one judge might give 22, one judge might give 23, so that's where you'll hear the half points come in.
So the scoring is there's 2 independent judges. We add the score together and then average it out. Is that basically what we do?
That's right, Tim. Like as I was saying there, like one judge might give 22, one might give 23, so therefore the readout score will be 22 and a half points out of a possible score of 26 points.
So then we hear you say every night they call for the gate. What's happened then?
Yes, the competitor calls for the gate for the stewards on the face of the camp, and that indicates that he's ready to go. He's got everything all set and under control. A lot of competitors want to come off the one side in particular than more so than the other, and they anticipate the time when their beast is going to turn off, say, the far side fence or the closest fence to them, then get set to come out into this spotless stadium.
Once they come out here, we can see our competitors starting to mill back around the camp, but there are suddenly some green trees out here on the ground, or pegs. What's going to happen with those pegs?
Well, the pegs, the trees, the green trees, it's a left-hand course. The first peg is taken on the left circle. So there's 2 points for the first peg.
So that would be the peg closest to the Martin and Angus and Sinclair stand, just where most of our horses are sort of cantering around.
Exactly right, Tim.
Correct. Okay.
Yeah.
Then where do they go?
And then they come around, and when they get to sort of around that centre line from the first peg to the second peg, they'll do a changeover, and they'll go on the other side of the beast, and they'll come around the second peg.
So that'll be the peg down here near the big screen and the Cumberland stand, closer to where you're standing.
Correct again, Tim. And then they'll come around there and they'll get another point for that peg, so that's 3 out of 4. Then they'll head out towards the Sydney Royal Stand, members stand, where our 2 pegs are close together, and that's what we refer to as the gate. And that's another point for the course, so that is 4 out of 4.
So there's 4 for the course, 26 for the camp, so that's 30. Now, where can we pick up the other 70 points?
Well, the 70
score out of 100.
The 70 is the horse work. That is the speed of the run, the control of the run, and the neatness. And then the judges will, some judges, will, one judge might give 64, one judge might give 63, so that's another indication whether it'll be 63 and a half. A lot of times you'll see the judges the same sort of, they don't vary very much at all. It could be 62 from both judges, because the 2 judges, Fred Patterson and Keith Horrigan, they're right on the job, and you see the scores come in, and they differ very, very little.
Now, Jim, I like to take things slow and steady when I do things, so can I just walk my beast out and walk around, or is there a set time that I have to do this course under?
No, it's a set time, Tim, is 40 seconds.
Gee, that's quick.
Well, it sounds quick, but sometimes it's not long enough sometimes.
Yeah, I think you could run out of time very quickly if you don't get that beast moving. And then sometimes the beast might come out and it might shoot away and I lose it. Can I come back and have another go, or is that it? That's my job done?
No, that is the job done, Tim, and you'll hear the sounds of the Australian stock whips. There they go as we just speak, and the judges are ready for action, and we're just about to go into action for round 4 of the World Championship Camp Draft.
Well, once again, a massive thank you to Tyrrell's Wines, everyone, and you enjoy a refreshing drink at the end of the day. Make sure you drink Australian-owned and operated since 1856, based in the Hunter Valley. Tyrrell's Wine, long-time sponsor here in the main arena, 1858 in fact. And Lindsay Douglas, who is our first competitor?
Well, first in camp, you'll see Terry Hannigan. He's riding Durkin's Onyx. Now, Terry's only been drafting for 5 years, but he's ridden all of his life. He came out here on night 1 with a score of 86.5, outdid himself on night 2 with a score of 88. But last night, well, he only just got out of the camp with a cutout score of 17.5. He's riding a 10-year-old Bay Gelding Australian stock horse, and this horse has only been campaigning with Terry for 2.5 years, but has had quite a bit of experience with previous owners. And it wasn't only 2013 that Terry won the ABCRA Encouragement Rider, and he's gone on to compete in the ABCRA National Finals for 3 years in the last 4.
Okay, thank you very much, Lindsay and Tim, and we go with competitor number 1, Terry Hannigan, Durkin's Onyx, as he's just running the eye over the wonderful line of the Angus steers. And he's probably got a 98% of which one I'm going to take. Will I change my mind? I should stick to my first choice. So they're about to go in to make their selection. Our Camp Draft judge is about to give him the nod. There, he's got the nod. And we welcome our Camp Draft judges, Fred Patterson from Gloucester, Keith Horrigan from Branca Plains at Walker. As Terry Hannigan and Durkin's Onyx, they make their selection. They come up the face of the camp. They do the 1, they do the 2, the 3. Got it all under control. Calls for the gate. They step out into the spotless stadium. And the Angus steer says a lovely surface too we've got to run on this evening. And around the first peg they come. Durkin's Onyx and Terry Hannigan. And around the first peg, he moves right around. He says, just do a beautiful change over there too, and they're going to try and tighten it up. Coming around the second peg, they've got 2 out of 4 for the course. As we come around the second peg, and he's got 3 out of 4. He gets that other point for the second peg. Can they do it? He's going to tighten it right up. Oh, can he do it? Can he do it? He can do it. Magnificent run from Durkin's Onyx and Terry Hannigan.
Hey, what a way to start World Series Camp Draft. Lovely to welcome our mounted police on their horses up there on the concourse. If you see them, go and say hello to them as we welcome out Nigel Cable. He's into the camp. He was 3rd on the first night with an 89. He has won this 3 years in a row, 4 years in total. Nigel Cable and Chevron Ivory, the 20-year-old stallion that everyone loves to watch.
A score for Terry Hannigan and Durkin's Onyx was 21.5 for cutout, 63.5 for horsework, 4 out of 4 for the course, a total of 89 points. 89 points for Durkin's Onyx and Terry Hannigan. Nigel Cable, Chevron Ivory. Comes right up the face of the camp, and Chevron Ivory very keen to get on the job here on this Monday evening. Sydney Royal Easter Show, Spotless Stadium. Here they come, Chevron Ivory. Nigel Cable, the very, very well-known combination. And look at here around the first peg. And the steer is cooperating perfectly. Now they do the changeover. They've got 2 out of 4 for the course and tightens up at things around the second peg. Chevron Ivory Camp Drafting right around on the beast's shoulder. Comes around now, pushes him away. Tiny, just gives him a little bit of a bump. He steps away from him. Now he crosses over the line. He's got 3 out of 4 for the course. He heads over towards the 2 pegs we refer to as the gate. Like girls and boys, mums and dads, can they do it? Yes, they can. Chevron Ivory and Nigel Cable.
Well, he'll be the one to watch. He's had 3 years on the trot here as the winner of the World Championship Camp Draft. But our next in camp, as we wait for that score, is a man by the name of Paul Carlin. He's riding Heatwave, and this stallion's progeny have been selling at the Landmark Classic for anywhere between $20,000 and $25,000. He's a 13-year-old bay by Acres Destiny, a dual Rego stock horse and quarter horse who's been campaigning for 10 years. Most recently, some performance history includes the Warwick Champion of Champions, Canberra Royal placing third, the Warwick Stallion Draft in 2010, where he placed second and fifth in 2011. And Paul Carlin, well, he's a 52-year-old from Rock Forest, just in between Bathurst and Orange.
So a score now for Nigel Cable and Chevron Ivory was 22.5 for cutout, 59 for horsework, 4 course points, a total of 85.5 points. 85.5 points for Chevron Ivory, ridden by Nigel Cable. As we pick up Paul Carlin now with Heatwave around the first peg. And he's got to ride hard to get him up over the line between the two pegs. Now Heatwave now gets to ride around there now on the far side of the beast. And just sits off him a little bit now and just lets the steer run on and lets him run on beautifully coming around the second peg. They got 3 out of 4 for the course. Paul Carlin and Heatwave. Can they do it? This could be 3 runs out of 3. Oh, magnificent Champagne Camp Drafting. Raise the glasses. That was Heatwave with Paul Carlin.
Gee, there's be some Tyrrell's wine drunk tonight to celebrate. What a run from Paul Cullen, 3 from 3. Well, next into the camp, we welcome the young gun, Hugh Miles. He's only 28 years old. He's won 2 of our 3 nights with 291 scores on Peelvale Wishes, or Wishes as he's known around the stables. He's a quarter horse Australian stock horse. 8 years they've been campaigning, and in 2017, top 25 open horse in the ABCRA, the Australian Bushman's Camp Draft and Rodeo Association.
So a score now for Paul Carlin and Heatwave, 22 for cutout, 60.5 for horsework, 4 out of 4 for the course, a total of 86.5 points. 86.5 points for Heatwave and Paul Carlin. As Hugh Miles now and Peelvale Wishes right up the face of the camp and stepped out onto the stage here of the Spotless Stadium. And now look at Peelvale Wishes. Now just sit back here just a little moment. Oh, look at this for a first peg as Wishes. Oh, and it's just going to get away. Well, give him a nice round of applause there. Things are looking so good, but it just slipped away on him coming around the first peg.
Well, next in camp will be Kyra O'Brien on O'Brien's Reset. She was second place in the 2017 World Championship Camp Draft. This horse is a 12-year-old bay stallion, and it's recently been reserve champion in the working class here at Sydney Royal. Comes to us from Millers Forest in the Hunter Valley near Raymond Terrace, and part of the O'Brien family partnership, well known for producing their horses with versatility in all of the disciplines and winning at local, state and royal levels.
Score now for Peelvale Wishes and Hugh Miles was 22.5 points for cutout. 22.5 for Peelvale Wishes and Hugh Miles. And one of our lady competitors, Kyra O'Brien. She goes in here studying the cattle. Says, which ones am I going to get the big run? We're at the halfway mark of the World Championship Camp Draft, round number 4. We're at the time where they've got to have the points on the board. She goes in nice and quietly. She gets it away clean. Another one of the relations comes up along the side fence. O'Brien's Reset, Kyra O'Brien. Gets it away clean now, so she comes up the face of the Campbell, going for the big point. She knows what she's got to do here on round 4. She calls for the gate. O'Brien's Reset with Kyra O'Brien and around the first peg. And look here, there's going to be another tight peg here. She just sits away a little bit now. Goes to the beast. She comes away from him. Comes around the first peg. She does the crossover. She's got 2 out of 4. Now around the second peg they come again. Now they just sit away. And O'Brien's Reset says we'll just sit a little. But boys and girls, mums and dads, I think we could see something special again. They do the crossover now. They're going to line things up for the gate. Got a beautiful running steer. O'Brien's Reset says leave the footwork to me. You line it up, Kyra, and I'll take you through the pegs. And there's another beautiful run here. Champagne Camp Drafting, round number 4.
Wow, textbook camp drafting. 4 from 5 have completed in the first 5 as we welcome into the camp number 6 in the draw. He's completed 2 from his first 2 nights. This is Grant Watham with Samuel's Jewel Acres, the 11-year-old mare by Acres Destiny. She's an Australian stock horse who's been camp drafting for 5 years. And young Grant is an auctioneer and grazier. And the whole family rides Jules.
The score now for O'Brien's Reset and Kyra O'Brien was 21 for cutout, 61 and a half for horsework, 4 out of 4 for the course, a total of 86 and a half. 86 and a half for Kyra O'Brien, O'Brien's Reset. As we pick up Grant Watham with Samuel's Jules Acres. Around the first peg they come. Now they got 2 points for the first peg. They do the changeover. He's going to tighten it up around the second peg. Now Grant Watham and Jules Acres. Looking pretty good. They do the crossover. They've got 3 out of 4 for the course. This has been camp drafting at its very, very best. Oh, they're going to go for the big one. They're going to tighten it right up, and it's come off. A beautiful gate there from Samuel's Jewel Acres, ridden by Grant Watham. And Michelle, she'll be up there clapping the hands this afternoon.
Well, a hairpin turn towards the last there. And next in camp will be Troy Palmer and Binya Impressive Destiny, a horse he calls ID for short that has 288 registered progeny in the Australian Stock Horse Society. Well, this is a quarter horse, an Australian stock horse that's been campaigning for 13 years. And boys, it picked up some titles on the way. It was last year when this was the landmark Stallion Draft winner. The year before, the Warwick Stallion Draft winner. And he comes from the town of Coolah in the central west of New South Wales.
Score for Grant Watham with Samuel's Jules Acres was 21 for cutout, 63 and a half for horsework, 4 out of 4 for the course, a total of 88 and a half points. 88 and a half points for Samuel's Jewel Acres and Grant Watham as we go for the ride now with Troy Palmer with Benny Impressive Destiny. And around the first peg they come, the great Australian stock horse stallion and the well-known competitor Troy Palmer. 2 points for the first peg. They go over heading towards the second peg and he tightens it right up. He nearly takes the leaves off the top side of it. Now the steer just says, now I'll come around here for you, and they do the changeover. They get 3 out of 4 for the course, and I think he's going to go for the big ones here. Troy Palmer, Benny Impressive Destiny. They line it up. It looks pretty good from here, and straight down the centre it comes. And another full round course in round number 4.
I don't know what these camp drafters had last night, Jim Callahan, but I want some of it. They are on fire here this evening.
I will get you a copy of the diet, Tim.
Okay, well, Adam Sadler makes his way in on Tajano Spin now. He has had a great run so far. This 9-year-old mare has won 2 novices and enjoyed camp drafting success over 25 years. And this is their 3rd year campaigning in the main arena, and they love watching all of the camp drafting here. Next to go, Adam Sadler and Tajano Spin.
So a score now for Troy Palmer and Benny Impressive Destiny was 19 and a half for cutout, 62 for horsework, 4 out of 4 for the course, a total of 85 and a half points. 85 and a half points for Troy Palmer and Benny Impressive Destiny. So, Adam Sadler. Makes his selection. Tajano Spin, number 8 in the draw. Right up the face of the camp they come. 1, he's done the 2, the 3, the 4, and he calls for the gate. And he steps out here onto centre stage in this spotless stadium. And around the first peg they're heading. And he just shaves the leaves off the first tree. And going to go for the big run here. He does the changeover and look here, Tajano Spin. He come around the second peg. Adam Sadler, the Angus deer, Tajano Spin, they got 2 out of 3, 3 out of 4. Oh, there's a big run coming up here. Boys and girls, mums and dads, look, can they do it? Can they do it? Tajano Spin and Adam Sadler. It's a magnificent run again.
Well, boy, are we getting some amazing runs here this evening. The next on course is a young lady from Dora Creek. She's only 20 years old. This is her first time competing in the World Championship Camp Draft at Sydney Royal. But she started riding at 14 years old and started competing as an 8. She's been riding, I should say, for 14 years because she started at 8. She's won 4 national titles. She's out here on a horse called Jecker's Request. This is April Langridge.
Score now for Adam Sadler and Tajano Spin was 22 for cutout, 64 and a half for horsework, 4 out of 4 for the course, a total of 90.5 points. 90.5 points for Tajano Spin and Adam Sadler. April Langridge now, she calls for the gate. She's on centre stage here in the Spotless Stadium. And she just gets one that wriggles one way, goes the other, and heads over into the big shaded area. But now the beast comes out into the sunlight. And Jacker's Request. And look at April Langridge. And Jacker's Request says, I've got it all under control. She lets right up on the beast's shoulder, pushes it in over the line. She does the changeover around the second peg. And the Angus steer says, I'll cooperate now. You've got me well and truly under control. Around the second peg they come, and this is Champagne Campdrafting again. She's going to steer that steer over towards the 2 pegs for the gate to try and get 4 out of 4. And Jacker's Request and April Langridge come on down. They'll be celebrating with the Tyrrells this evening.
Well, they're working for it here tonight. Another completed score. So Adam Sadler, our current leader, 90.5. Terry Hannigan currently sitting in second, and currently sitting in third place is Grant Watham, as we welcome the next of our riders out into the arena. And this is Ben Tapp on Cool Dust. Of course, Ben Tapp, Cool Dust, it's a 17-year-old mare by Roma out of Oaks Stardust, and they've been campaigning for 13 years together.
A score now for Jacker's Request, and April Langridge was 21 for cutout, 59 for horsework, 4 out of 4 for the course, a total of 84 points. 84 points for Jacker's Request, ridden by April Langridge. So Ben Tapp with Cool Dust, number 10 in the draw. And the beast tried to go back down the fence, but Cool Dust got it all under control. They step out into the Spotless Stadium, and this Angus steer says, I'll just head out here. But he says, no, Cool Dust has got it all under control. Around the first peg they come. Now Ben Tapp, Cool Dust, they come around the first peg. They're about to do the flying changeover, and he does it now, and he moves right around onto the beast's shoulder there now, and trying to come around the second peg. They've got 2 out of 4 for the course at this stage. He looks like he's going to get the 3. He gets it now. They do the crossover. Now, can he steer the steer over towards the 2 pegs for the gate? It's looking pretty good. Can they do it, boys and girls, mums and dads? Ben Tapp with Cool Dust, and straight down the centre they come. Another 4-round course, and once again, many thanks to Elliston Pastoral for the loan of a lovely lot of cattle.
Well, speaking of full rounds, our next lady in camp has had full rounds every night here as part of the World Championship Camp Draft. But it's a first-year riding at the Sydney Royal Easter Show on a horse called Quindella Chief, the 18-year-old bay gelding that you see now on your screens. Australian stock horse that's been campaigning for 14 years. But Chief gets ridden by the kids as well at Pony Club and at shows. And Sue Duggan, well, she was the 2017 ABCRA Lady Rider title holder.
So a score now for Cool Dust and Ben Tapp was 19.5 for cutout, 61.5 for horsework, 4 out of 4 for the course, a total of 85 points. 85 points for Ben Tapp and Cool Dust. So there's one steer over here, Tim, that they just want to remove from the yard. So he's just got a little bit of a sore foot, so they're not going to run him.
Well, while they take him out of the arena, we must thank Tyrrell's Wine, mustn't we? They are an amazing sponsor. Have been here, Jim, for, I don't know, what have you been commentating here for 20 plus years, I think, if my memory might serve me correctly?
Yeah, you're very close, Tim.
And Tyrrell's Wine, they've been on board for a big part of that.
I think they've been here for every bit of it because we've had a lot of great evenings, compliments of Tyrrell's Wines. So our cattle stewards, Pete and Dave Kelly, and the help of Murray Wilkinson. And hasn't Murray Wilkinson put on been a great draw card too, Tim?
Oh, he certainly has. We see him lunchtime and every evening, and then 3 shows a day up there in the Daily Telegraph arena as well. So he's hardworking, a pastoralist from the Elliston Pastoral Company. He gets paid to work with these sort of livestock each and every day of the year.
What a life.
I think he should have to pay the Elliston Pastoral Company, just personally.
He probably won't agree with you with that.
He's shaking his head at me.
So now we go with Sue Duggan from Coolah with Quindella Chief. Her first year here at the Sydney Royal Easter Show for the World Championship Camp Draft. And as Sue, she certainly settled into the atmosphere here for the World Championship Camp Draft as she settles in round 4 at around the first peg, and Quindella Chief and Sue Duggan, and they've got everything under control. 2 points for the first peg. They do the flying changeover, and she's going to tighten it up around the second peg, right around, and look at Quindella Chief, just leave the footwork to me. We're just about to sit back and we'll go hard, and I think we might be able to do it. Can they do it? Quindella Chief and Sue Duggan, can they do it, boys and girls, mums and dads? Of course they can, here in the Spotless Stadium.
I just want to reiterate to people here, you might watch 100 rounds at a normal camp draft to see this many completed courses. We are seeing world-class camp drafting here tonight as we welcome into the arena now Gavin White, an Ashcat Destinations Diva. He had an 84 in round 3, an 86.5 in round 1. And Ashcat's Destination Diva, or Diva as she's known around the stables, a 7-year-old mare by Destination Unknown and out of Peter's Request. And this combination have been competing here since he was 16 years of age, Gav. That was 12 years ago.
So a score for Sue Duggan and Quindella Chief was 21 for cutout, 65 for horsework, 4 out of 4 for the course, a total of 90 points. 90 points for Quindella Chief and Sue Duggan. As we pick up Gav White now as he comes out into the Spotless Stadium. Now with Ashcat Destinations, Diva and around the first peg they come, and Diva and Gav White have got it all under control. They come around the first peg, they get the 2 points. They do the changeover now. He's going to tighten it up around the second peg, and he does just that. And look at Diva, moves right up there and just turns the beast away. Now they're just going to get it back around. He got 3 out of 4 now. Gav White all the way from Corindi in the northern part of the Hunter Valley. Around there, they line it up for the 4 out of 4. Can they get the 4 out of 4? It's looking pretty good. It's looking very good. And down the neck of the bottle they come. Ashcat Destinations Diva with Gav White.
Well, I've just seen him go into camp. It's the unmistakable horse, Ghost of Abbey, a Cromello mare, 7 years old, and was the first foal out of multiple national title winning mare, Little Abbey. This is Tony Mortimer on board. He's a 43-year-old. He's a truck driver and plant operator when he's not in camp doing what he's doing now. They've placed in 4 open drafts, in 3 novice drafts, and they made the final of the Warwick Gold Cup. This is Tony Mortimer and Ghost of Abbey.
Okay, now score for Gav White with Ashcat Destinations Diva was 21.5 for cutout, 61.5 for horsework, 4 out of 4 for the course, a total of 87 points. 87 points. So Tony Mortimer with Ghost of Abbey. Oh, and the steer comes out bucking and playing here in the Spotless Stadium. Says, this feels just so good. And Ghost of Abbey says, yes, and I feel just as good too, as it wraps it around the first peg. They do the changeover. And Tony Mortimer, Ghost of Abbey, around the second. I don't think we're probably going to see a better round of camp drafting anywhere where you travel, and you're seeing the very, very best of the horses and the competitors here at the Sydney Royal Easter Show. Ghost of Abbey, Tony Mortimer. Can they do it? Can they do it? Well, she was trying, but he's just going to go to the left of the gate. Give him a great round of applause there, Ghost of Abbey and Tony Mortimer.
Oh, so close yet so far for that combination. So Sue Duggan put herself into second place before Adam Sadler, still our win leader, with Terry Hannigan currently sitting in third as our next rider out, Warwick Lawrence. We've already seen his sister compete. He's 46 years old and he rides Proud Little Pepto, the 9-year-old stallion. He was the 2015 AB CRA runner-up at Maiden Horse, and also the 2015 and 16 ACBRA Eastern Zone Maiden Horse.
The score for Tony Mortimer and Ghost of Abbey was 21.5 for cutout, 59 for horsework, 3 course points, a total of 83.5 points. 83.5 points.
Well, unfortunately, Jim, while you were getting that score out, 83.5 comes in for Warwick Lawrence. He and the Beast got caught up. The Beast slipped. The horse went over the top, but both Beast, horse and rider are all okay. But unfortunately, that'll be just a score for cutout.
Well, next in camp will be a man who has something to prove. Last night he was second. The night before he placed second as well. He's sick and tired of getting number 2. That red ribbon is not what he's here for. This is Brendan Fitzgerald on a horse called More Rocks. He's been campaigning for 2 years and was the winner of the Chinchilla Novice Grandfather Clock Draft in 2017. It'll be interesting to see how the grazier from Roma goes this evening.
And a cutout score there for Warwick Lawrence and Proud Little Pepto of 23 points. 23 points for cutout for Proud Little Pepto and Warwick Lawrence. So we go with Brendan Fitzgerald and More Rocks about to make their selection. Round 4. And we have witnessed just round after round. So to Elliston Pastoral Company, the Packer family, to Rob Teague, Scott Mitchell and the team, all we can say is thank you very, very much. Magnificent lot of cattle. Brendan Fitzgerald and More Rocks as they come out and enter the Spotless Stadium round 4 of the World Championship Camp Draft. And he's got himself a nice travelling Angus steer too, and Brendan Fitzgerald. And More Rocks, More Rocks around the first peg. They got 2 out of 4 for the course. They do the changeover, and he's going to tighten it right up around here as More Rocks says, leave the footwork to me. I'll take you for a wonderful ride around the second peg. And Brendan Fitzgerald, they do the changeover. Oh, I think they can line it up. Can they do it? Can they do it? Oh, get your hands ready. It's another beautiful run. That was More Rocks with Brendan Fitzgerald.
Well, at the start of tonight, Lindsay Douglas said there was a real advantage for Andrew Chapman and Digby coming out last because they'd know the score that they would want. But I think if I was Andrew Chapman, I'd be pretty nervous, as would wife Trudy be there, because Chappie has to pull one out of the hat to try and win tonight on Digby. If anyone can do it, he can certainly do it. It's a 16-year-old Australian stock horse, quarter horse gelding by Acres Destiny.
So a score now for Brendan Fitzgerald with More Rocks was 21 for cutout, 61 for horsework, 4 out of 4 for the course, a total of 86 points. 86 points for More Rocks and Brendan Fitzgerald. The final competitor in round 4 of the World Championship Camp Draft, Andrew Chapman with Digby. And Andrew Chapman with Digby, and Digby says, well, just let the steer settle a little bit, and he comes and steers him around the first peg. Andrew Chapman, Digby, they do the changeover. They're going to tighten it up around the second peg as well. Oh, look at this. It's going to be really tight as the steer had a real close look at the peg. Says, I'll come this side for you, Chappie. Now they do the changeover. Now can they put it between the 2 pegs for the gate? He's going for the big points. Oh, and Trudy's warming the hands up. And Trudy, you can start clapping, Trudy. And there's another 4-round course there in round 4 of the World Championship Camp Draft.
That makes him 4 nights from 4 nights completing, Jim. What an effort, ladies and gentlemen. Give Andrew Chapman and Digby another round of applause. Now, to take the lead, he needs to get a score higher than 90.5 to be in second. He needs to be more than 90. And to be in third, he needs to score more than 89. We'll wait for that score to come in. As soon as we get it, Jim will bring us that.
Well, the score's coming through now for Andrew Chapman and Digby of 22.5 for cutout, 63 for horsework, 4 out of 4 for the course, a total of 89.5 points. 89.5 for Digby and Andrew Chapman.
That, by my book, unofficially would put him into third place. We'll wait for the official results very shortly. But, hey, ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, can you please put your hands together for our camp drafting competitors tonight? Have a look at that scoreboard. Look at that. That is absolutely phenomenal to see that many scores out of a completion. Jim, what an amazing treat we've had.
Well, we spoke about it into the lead up to it, Tim, and I think you and Lindsay were spot on. When you see the the best of everything, it's just so good to see. And the cattle, the horses, the competitors, a beautiful arena. The Spotless Stadium has certainly turned it on here in round 4 for the World Championship Camp Draft.
It most certainly has.
We can do it anytime. Andrew Chapman's 2. Adam, 2. Terry Hannigan. Andrew Chapman's 3rd, that's right. Fourth is Terry Hannigan. Fifth is Grant Watson. You've got it, Tim.
Well, the music sounds, the official results come in. Ladies and gentlemen, congratulations to our winner. On a score of 90.5, Tajano Spin, Adam Sadler wins round number 4. Second place on a score of 90. Congratulations to Sue Duggan and Quindella Chief. Third place going to Andrew Chapman and Digby on 89.5. Fourth place going to Terry Hannigan and 89. And fifth place on 88.5. Congratulations to Graham Watham and Samuel's Jewel Acres. Look at that, 2.5 points the difference. 3 points, I should say, the difference between first and fifth. Jim, you're down there with our winner.
Yes, and doing the presentation of round 4 is the one of the past presidents of the RAS, Mr. Arthur Bragg, doing the presentation for the winner and place getters of round 4. And I'm here with Adam. Well, Adam, round 4 has been Champagne Campdrafting. It was just run after run. Great to see. You must be pretty pleased with that run.
Yeah, I'm very pleased, Jimmy. It's full credit to Elliston for loaning these cattle and everybody involved in putting this on. Yeah, I'm very pleased, Jimmy.
The surface of the Spotless Stadium is really holding up really well.
It is, Jimmy. You can really ride with confidence. You know, as you've seen them with all, so many complete rounds. It's really good. It is.
Adam, how many years have you been come down here? Is this your first year at the Sydney Royal Easter Show?
No, Jimmy, this is my second time down here. I competed here down here in 2002 and again this time. Yep.
Well, 2018, I'll tell you what, you'll remember a few runs down here. You do a lot of travelling on the camp drafting circuit. To see rounds like that is just so good to see. Champagne camp drafting, isn't it?
Oh, Jimmy, it is Champagne camp drafting, and it's just good for the sport. To see how many complete runs that go there. That the cattle are fantastic, and the competition is really great.
Well, thanks for your time, Adam, and all the very best for the next 2 rounds.
Thanks, Jimmy. Appreciate it.
Okay, I might just catch up just a couple of moments. The first year here at the Sydney Royal Easter Show, Sue Duggan, you're certainly settling into the Spotless Stadium, Sue.
Yeah, having a great time, Jim, and I don't know why I haven't been doing this all my life.
Sue, all the best for the next 2 rounds, and great to see you at the Royal Easter Show.
Thanks, Jim. Couldn't be happier.
Okay, thank you. They're the winner and place getters of round 4. Once again, many thanks to Tyrrell's, Elliston Pastoral Company. So as they make their way, we'll go back upstairs to Lindsay and Tim. Thank you, Lindsay and Tim.